Hello, this is Jabba's Realm, which is an expansion for Star Wars Imperial Assault. This is the first scenario of the campaign, and we're just going to be playing it all the way through. I control both the Imperial side and the Rebel side, so this is solo playthrough, but it's not playing against an app or anything like that, and I'm just going to be making decisions for both sides. So the setup is here, as you can see, that the Imperial placement is decided by what's in the book. This is a barrier that the rebels, which are these figures, need to break down and get through this base. They need to open this door, they need to interact with this terminal, and they need to do that within 6 rounds, and otherwise they lose the scenario, which is not the end of the campaign, it's just the scenario continues with the storyline. And speaking of the storyline, the Imperial, according to the storyline, the Imperial, the evil empire, has started bombarding civilians in addition to, just the rebels. So the rebels are escaping on their ship, but they pretty much crash land on Tatooine. It's a soft crash landing, not too bad, but they need to really get their act together. So they found an Imperial base there that's on Tatooine, and they need to disable it before before they can just continue to try to salvage the situation. So we're going to just start with the first decision to be made is the Imperial players. The Imperial players have this attachment, which is from this deck that they're playing this time. It's an attachment that can boost an attack. The Imperial player has a choice of the 3 units that begin on the board to put it with. They're going to put it with the Jet Trooper. They could put it with the Stormtrooper. There's 3 Stormtroopers and only 2 Jet Troopers, so you'd think it's better on the Stormtrooper. But the Stormtrooper might get killed. Some of them might get killed on that first turn, so I figure the Jet Trooper is safer in this situation. For Rebels, we have Shyla, Diala, Fen, and Onar. And we're just going to see how they do. We'll play all the way through the campaign, and this is just the first scenario. So you need to put somebody, rebels need to put somebody on the blue thing, which is indicated in the book, the location of the blue thing, and then the other rebels go within 1 space. I've chosen this because I want Onar to go first so that he can bash on these stormtroopers, hopefully kill this one, strain to move there, kill this one, that sort of thing. So Onar is a very good attacker because he has a red die in his rifle that he's assigned with. So let's begin. So first turn, that's what Onar's going to do. Onar bash. So Onar gets, his rifle gets a green and a red, and the stormtrooper that's right next to him gets a black. One thing I will mention about this scenario is that the rebels need to go this way to get around because this is impassable terrain. You can see through it, you can shoot through it, but you just can't pass through it. It's kind of an incline or something. So we need to focus on keeping moving. If we're just going to sit there for a few turns and attacking, that's just not going to work because then we'll run out of time. The other way the Imperials would win, one way would be 6 rounds pass by and no interaction with the terminal. The other way the Imperials would win is if they wound each of the 4 characters, rebels. So that's what they're going to try to do. They're going to try to wound each one. And to that end, what I like to do as an Imperial is to focus on 1 rebel, wound them, which lowers some of their statistics, and then move on to the next one, if possible. So focusing fire, I guess you call it. Well, let's go with Onar, turn 1. Going to roll to attack that Stormtrooper. That's not too good. That's 3 damage minus 2 block, so that's only 1 damage on that Stormtrooper. This surge would be nice, but he doesn't have anything. The rifle can't use that surge. There's nothing to use that surge on. So he's just going to try again. So let's go again. For his second action, he gets 2 actions per turn, per round. Much better. So this time it's 3, 4, minus 1 is 3 damage, and then the surge, again, nothing to do there. 3 damage, that gives it 4, which is 1 more than it is needed to kill it. So Stormtrooper's gone. And does he want to use a strain to move, or he could even do 2 strain to move? don't think that would hurt a thing, because he doesn't really use strain for other things. He might get strain back. So let's go ahead and use the strain so he can move there. So that wasn't too bad of a turn. Got rid of one enemy. That's pretty important. So then I'm going to flip his activation token over. He's done. So now the Imperials, looking at this, who are they going to attack with? As an Imperial, I like to attack with as most as possibly can be, probably with the Stormtroopers. They'll attack, maybe move to try to avoid getting hit too much. But once they've attacked, they know they're just fodder. I mean, they're going to die anyway. So the other option would be these jet troopers, but this one is pretty far. I don't think he's in too much danger. So he'll get his turn whether he goes now or later. This one could die this turn, but or for the next activation. But let's go with the Stormtroopers. So figuring out how to optimize their attack. They get a benefit when they're next to a friendly trooper, so we want to do that. So if this one goes first and goes 1, 2, 3, 4, I would put him there. He gets 4 movement. Then he can shoot either of these, would be in line of sight. This is a totally blocking terrain, I think they call it, and this is impassable terrain. Impassable you can see through, blocking you can't. So, but position there, he can see, he can see right past it. So we're good. So let's do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so the question of which of Diala or Shyla does he want to go after? Diala is a pretty good defender, has foresight, which gives benefit on defense. I'll bring that up in detail if it comes up. And then, so I think Shyla, they both have 12 health. So let's go ahead and shoot Shyla. So it's a blue and a green, and Shyla gets a black for defense. So let's go ahead with this Stormtrooper. So that's 1, 2, minus 2 would be 0, but he has 2 surges. Could only use one of them, the other one isn't meaningful. So actually he's going to re-roll one of the dice. The reason he can is because he's next to a friendly trooper. That's their special ability. So he's going to choose this die to re-roll. I think it has more of a chance for this, which would more so than that one. So because we don't need the surge that was on the green die. This could backfire, but it doesn't. It's a good roll. So 1, 2, 3, 4 with the surge, minus 2 is 2 damage on Shyla. So that was a good turn for the Stormtrooper. Used up all his movement, and they can't use strain to do extra movement or anything like that. So now this Stormtrooper is going to focus on Shyla. 1, 2 here. Does he want to go anywhere else? Maybe back here. Yeah, let's do that. So 1, 2, and then it's going to shoot Shyla. So I have to be careful how I say that. Shoot Shyla. Let's go with that. Same type of attack. So that's, so far it's 3 minus 2 is 1 damage, but he's going to re-roll this. That re-roll is quite powerful, as you can see. It can get extra damage or 2 here and there. And speaking of 2, 4 minus 2 is 2 more damage on Shyla. So there we go. So he's moved 2. I'm going to move him back here, and the reason is that this guy gets a benefit for being on defense, for being next to any friendly Imperial. And this one, next turn, I plan on probably zooming out, shooting and zooming out to try to get them safe. So that would leave him alone, so this guy's going to help protect like that. So anyway, so that was the Stormtrooper. It's a legal move. That's fine there, because this is not blocking terrain or anything. It's what do you call it? Difficult terrain. So we're okay there. So now it's the Rebels' turn again. Well, I think Diala wants to hit this guy twice, or once, ideally, because she has reach on her staff. That's why I positioned her there to begin with, after seeing how the Imperial setup. So she's going to go ahead and reach, attack. She could do this one, but why kill one that's already taken their turn? Let's take one that hasn't taken their turn. So she's also going to use Precise Strike. So use when you declare an attack with a melee weapon, choose and remove 1 die from the target's defense pool, limit once per activation. So that's very powerful because then they don't get to use their blocking die. So she has to spend 2 strain to do that. And she gets a yellow and a green, so let's go with that. And no blocking die, that's how it works. So 1, 2, and then the +1 with the surge from her plasteel staff, and that kills this trooper, jet trooper. So that was one activation, or one action rather, of her activation. She does have line of sight to this guy, and he's within 2. She could just go ahead and attack that guy. There's some benefit of that, well, not only getting rid of an enemy, but also clearing the way a little bit. And then she can go around. Well, let's do that. Let's get some attacks in. So she can't use Precise Strike a second time on a single activation, so they get a blocking die. So she probably won't do much. She might stun, though. So let's go. Let's see what happens. Ooh, that was a terrible roll for her. So she has no damage and 2 surges, which could be +1 and a stun, but so it would be 1 damage -2, which is less than 0. So therefore you can't stun. So nothing. So that was that didn't work out. Oh, but it's not quite nothing. So we do have surges to spend. One surge we can use for removing a strain. So at least it wasn't a total nothing. So that was Diala, but that was successful because it got rid of one of the jet troopers. So now, do the jet troopers go first, or the Imperial officer go? Let's see. How about if the Imperial officer goes and maybe moves here? We'll have some good defense there. And then later this can go and do whatever it needs to do. So yeah, why don't we do that? So 1, 2, and then shooting Shyla. So that's a blue and a yellow, and Shyla gets a black for defense. Oh, look at that, good defense. So we've got no rerolls or anything like that. So 1, 2 plus 1 surge is 3, but it's 3 blocking, so nothing. No damage. So that was the Imperial officer. So now, ideally, we'd like to, as rebels, we'd like to get rid of this guy because he hasn't taken his turn. If we can knock him out, then... So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She can get a nice hit. 1, 2, 3, 4. He can get just his average hit with some blast. Let's go with Shyla. She doesn't like being attacked. So she has 5 movement. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The problem with being there is that now she's going to have to kind of backtrack or go around to get. But these things happen. You can't be perfect. So she's going to go ahead and she did her movement. So now she's going to. She won't get her respite advantage, but it's a trade-off. So she's going to use the Duelist Blades ability, which says use one of your actions. So this will be her second action. Replace 1 yellow die in your attack pool with 1 red die, then perform an attack with this weapon. So instead of a yellow and a green, it's a red and a green, which is better because the red has more damage. So they do get defense. And so here we go. That's a good one. So 1, 2, 3 damage plus 1 surge, which is going to be just a +1. So 4 damage minus 1 is 3. That kills the jet trooper. So this idea of putting the attachment on the jet trooper, that didn't work. That was just a failure. So this just gets unattached. Her turn is done unless she wants to move. She doesn't get the respite. She could do a move right here to next turn to pick up this crate. Crates aren't typically important for the scenario, but they help with the campaign. You get 50 gold at the end of the campaign. And then also you might get a decent, like a healing item or something. So let's be greedy. Let's be a little greedy. She's going to move there by using a strain. Still doesn't get the respite, but that's the end of her turn. Next turn she can pick that up. You know what? She can probably pick that up anyway next turn. I take that back. She can just go around here, pick it up as she's moving. We'll decide that later. So anyway, no strain. So that was Shyla. Okay, what's next? Well, there are no more Imperials who haven't gone, so Fen gets his shot, so to speak. So 1, 2, 3, 4. He can go right there and then shoot this one. Yeah, we don't want to attack the Imperial officer because they've got the bonus on defense. So I think this is pretty clear. Oh, but we've got Havoc shot. Okay. He could go 1, 2, shoot this guy, the Havoc shot. No, let's not go all out for just a Havoc shot. It's just 1 damage. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4 if he wants to get a lone wolf advantage, but no lone wolf advantage is really needed here. So let's go 3, move right there. He's going to attack this. He does have line of sight around that corner. So it is a blue and a green. So not too bad. And the Stormtrooper gets a black on defense. So that's 3 minus 1 block is 2 damage. Doesn't quite kill it. Oh, I can do a Havoc shot from here because he's not adjacent. Yeah, why not? Okay, he's going to activate Havoc shot, which says, use while attacking with a ranged weapon. This attack gains blast 1. Costs 1 strain to do that, so he'll do that. So that means blast 1 means that the target of the attack gets the regular damage, and then anybody that's adjacent, rebels or Imperials, will take 1 damage. Well, it looks like he's adjacent, but there's a wall intervening, and that's not adjacent. Even though he had line of sight, it's not adjacent. It's the rules. So 1 damage goes to this guy. So he spent a strain, gave 1 damage to the Imperial officer. That worked out. So he still has some movement. 1 movement left. Yeah, you know what? Let's move here, because he went 1, 2, 3, so that's his 4th movement, has 4 speed. Benefit of this is he does get his lone wolf, which says at the end of your activation, if there are no friendly figures adjacent to you, recover 1 strain. So that gets his strain back. Doesn't sound like much, but it adds up. That's one of the interesting aspects of this game in general, Star Wars Imperial Assault. You just have so many decisions. It's pretty easy, right? I mean, you just move, you attack, you interact, you rest. I mean, it's not a whole lot of options. But there are a lot of options because you've got every little space that you move can make a difference. The strain, oh, I'm out of strain, so that's one of the cool aspects of this game. So that's the end of his turn. Like I say, there are no more Imperials, so at the end of the first turn,